All right, so in this video, I wanted to talk about if the future of the RCBI industry is over. Is it all finished? And when I say RCBI, it's residency and citizenship by investment, meaning you usually do a donation or an investment, you pay the cash and obtain the benefit with no connections to the residency or that citizenship. So it has been a very substantially booming industry, especially during the pandemic. It really picked up. A lot of interest from around the globe really picked up in RCBI options. And in this video is going to be split in two parts. The first part I'm going to discuss if it's all over, is the future finished, is it's all gone, is it a lost cause? And in the second part, which is very important, I'm going to talk about what is the future, right? Where is this all headed? What should one be looking at? Should you still be hopeful that the programs will continue, new programs will come up specifically within the RCBI, or should you have a plan B for your plan B, right? So what should be the future approach? What are the options that you have? All right, so let's first start off with the RCBI, right? So what has happened? Several actions have happened. A lot of countries have canceled their passports, meaning these passports were issued, obviously due diligence and all of that. And then there were subsequently the passport cancellations. Now, when someone pays money and gets a citizenship, when they're paying the money, obviously there's no connection. They're just doing the donation, which supposedly goes for the benefit of the country. But once you become a citizen, you feel you're a real citizen. But obviously, once they review it, sometimes they cancel these passports. And Cyprus canceled over 200 passports. There have been numerous instances in other places, etc. If you have missed out on the video on Cyprus and how the passports were canceled, you can return and take a look at this one. Now there are some I wouldn't say passport mills, but the concept is similar. They print and issue passports based on pure cash donations. There are a few countries, a handful of countries, 5 or 6 countries that would instantly hand you over a passport if you're willing to do a donation. Obviously, they want to do some due diligence. And it's a simple, straightforward process, right? So there has been a lot of attention that this kind of scheme has garnered, right? Especially they provide good, lucrative visa-free access. So eventually it was going to catch up. Western governments took note of all of this, right? So you had actions by the US, UK is the latest entrant. The EC has taken some actions against some of these countries. Now, if you have missed out my coverage on what all actions have been taken against existing options, you can return and take a look at this link. There were also subsequently golden visas that were terminated, and golden visas are where you don't really have to reside in the country, minimal residency of, let's say, 1 day to 5 days. And you could get a residency. You could, very conveniently set up a tax residency by very minimal investment on the ground, meaning minimal physical presence. So these options were really a good vehicle to circumvent tax laws in the home country and then create some sort of a quick and easy way to set up this residency by paying some cash. And that usually benefited the country. It benefited the investor because then you're getting to save taxes in your home country where you originally belong, where you're supposed to pay taxes as per your home country laws. But because then you have this convenient way of dodging the whole tax situation, then you had these options. So the West has taken note of all of that, right? It's all being closely watched and monitored. There's 2 things that is happening. One is that obviously they have shut down these, or have put so much pressure that these programs are being shutting down. They have put these countries, some countries, on gray list because they provided this kind of a mechanism, vehicle, right, for this kind of thing to happen. So gray listing was the second action. Third, now EC is putting a lot of pressure, UK is putting a lot of pressure on the jurisdictions that sold such options to hand over the data, to monitor the data. Also the benefits obtained, right? Let's say you obtained a passport through the whole CBI thing. Now these passports are being, there's a lot of tracking when you use this for banking, travel, all of that. There's a lot of tracking mechanism that is already in place, and there's new tracking mechanism that is being planned and is in the pipeline. If you have missed my coverage on what's going on in terms of tracking and monitoring, you can return and take a look at this link. This talks about the current initiative and the future pipeline, right? What's going on. So given all of this, what's happening is the existing options, they're losing access. Some of them are really rapidly losing access. They're on the decline, right? There's monitoring and surveillance that's happening in certain cases. So that's the second thing that's happening. So the ones that are there are becoming useless because of all these initiatives, right? You can't really use them for any logical reasoning. For whatever reason you wanted to use them is all being patched up. So that's one negative. The other ones, right, are being shut down completely. So most of the countries that used to, most of the good countries that used to sell their passports at a premium have shut down their programs, and all the golden visas are being terminated. So the future really is currently, according to me, is looking very bleak, right? It's not looking good at all. So the availability is diminishing because of what's going on. There are no new countries that are coming up with their programs. Now, there were very confident announcements made by a lot of countries that new CBI programs are going to be starting soon, but none of that has materialized with such heavy action and spotlight and focus by all the Western governments on these schemes. New programs are obviously skeptical of releasing any obvious such options, right? So in my opinion, yes, it is what it is. It's not good at all. It's very, very negative. Like a pack of cards, these options are collapsing. So should you be jumping into something that's collapsing or something that's subject to investigation and all of that? Well, that's a personal call that you got to take. None of what I'm saying is immigration, legal, tax, or financial advice. This is just my assessment and analysis on these options. Now, before I jump into the future, right, what should be done or what is the approach that you should be taking moving forward, considering there's so much negativity in this domain. If you're new to my channel, my name is Jay, and here we discuss investments that lead to residencies, Plan B, citizenships, and a whole lot more. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel so the moment there's any latest or any breaking news, you don't miss out on any of the coverage. All right, now let's jump to the second part. Second part is, what is the future? The future is organic, real residencies. When I say real, meaning real connection to the country. It could be a flexible connection, right? So a lot of countries give you the option of establishing a residency, which is very flexible. So it gives you some time to connect with the country. Maybe you don't feel safe to instantly jump on or move on to that country and then establish your life. That is where it gives you the flexibility to try it out, to see if it is a good fit for you. And if you see it is a good fit, then you maintain that flexibility. You keep obviously you're connected to the country, and eventually then you can work yourself towards the citizenship. Now when you compare something like a Portugal golden visa to the South African permanent residency, now for me, for someone like me, I see a real connection with the South African permanent residency because it is very, very cheap, right? It's not a golden or a heavily marketed option. So you're not looking at 400, 500K in investments, and those investments are really waste of money in a lot of cases. You buy some ridiculously overpriced property in some ridiculous areas, right? All the good areas are taken, let's say with the Portugal golden visa. And often these marketers will sell you something. You're thinking you're putting an investment in a country like like Portugal, but essentially your investment is down the drain because you've lost 70-80% if you haven't invested correctly. So those are not real good options in my opinion, unless of course you invested in the beginning of the program when it was lucrative. But something like South Africa, which costs merely $6,800 approximately in USD, you can obtain a permanent residency, which is a flexible residency, which gives you a pathway to citizenship. So it gives you time. A lot of people don't understand what Plan B is. They keep talking about how safe or unsafe a country is. Now, of course, it's not the safest of the safest, right? It's not a well-developed Western nation, right? It'll have its own issues. Now, if you look at it as a plan B, a flexible plan B, where you get the time to, sort of assess the situation, pick your spots, and then be safe in that country, then it would make sense to you. But if you just talk about the safety and look at the safety stats and how dangerous it is, then in my opinion, that's a bit of a stupidity. You're not being real. Yes, you can sit on your couch and you can cry about Portugal and all of that and not do anything, right? Not take any action. You can sit and get scared of the safety situation. Then nothing is going to happen, right? You're going to sit on your couch, keep thinking, what are the options? There are no options, and keep getting depressed. Or you can take action, right? Look at something more sensibly, right? And look at it as a plan B. Now, places like South Africa, Romania, these are not party towns, right? You don't instantly go there, set your life, and start having some parties and making noise about it. These are quiet, safe, safe in the sense it's for plan B, safety and security, right? So you have your parties in places where you're supposed to have your parties, right? Maybe it's a Western nation, maybe wherever it is. And when you're looking for a quiet getaway, when you're looking for a quiet plan B, something that you can use in your difficult times, that is where you use something like a South Africa. It gives you that backup option. It is not at the foreground where you're coming from a very developed nation, leaving everything, renouncing everything, and then you go set shop in South Africa. No, that is not what a plan B ever means, right? Plan B is there where you have options. For certain reasons, you use one plan B. For certain other reasons, you use something else. And so on. You have a set of things that you have at your disposal. That is what is diversification. That is what is plan B security. So what are the options, right? So you have organic, natural options. Something like South Africa, Mexico is a hardcore combination. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful option. It's a very strong combination. So that's a very good option. You have so many other great options in Latin Americas. Yes, there will be safety. Yes, there will be language challenges. But in life, if you really want something sustainable, long-term, natural, that would last, I think it's very important to do at least somewhat of a hard work, right? You get the flexibility, choose options where you have flexibility if you need that. If you have some real time, let's say 1 or 2 years in a country, spend the time, do the hard work, and get the real benefit out of it, right? Which is a real plan B that lasts for your lifetime, for you and your family, and for future. So that is what I would focus on, right? So you have some real hidden gems in Africa's. Now, South Africa is not the only African country. There are several other very awesome options within the Africas. Not all lead to dual passport, right? Some do, some don't. But then when you talk about a residency, there are multiple options in the Africas. Asia has 1 or 2, right, hidden gems. And then most are in Latin America, some real good options. I think the Latin Americas has been over talked about, over subscribed. I think Africa has more of an edge when it comes to that, interesting options. Now, I have a very detailed series on South Africa, the different options that can get you that permanent residency. So if you are interested, you can return and take a look at this link. Some of the videos with the detailed process would require membership to my channel. So that's something of interest to you. Take a look at that. Also, the same is applicable to Mauritius. There are many ways of obtaining a Mauritius residency, and a lot of people don't know about it. Now, if you have missed my video on the Mauritius option, you can return and take a look at this link. Talks about it in a lot more detail. Apart from South Africa and Mauritius, there are other very interesting opportunities which I'm currently working on. Hopefully, I'll get some more material for you guys. And in the meanwhile, if you are interested in starting your residency in something that's logical, safe, and something of the future, you can always click the link in the description, book a call with us. We can discuss specifically what you're looking for, what your situation is, and then accordingly, we can get you started with the option of your choice. I hope you liked this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, make sure you're subbed, and catch you in the next one.